on the agenda is the election of chair. Could I please call for nominations, please? Sorry, Councillor Willis-Crotty, you're muted at the moment.
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Certainly can.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Councillor Welton as the chair.
Thank you. Councillor Patterson, is that seconded?
Yes, I would like to second that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for electing me as chair. Second item on the agenda is apologies for absence. We have no apologies for absence. We're all here. And number 3 is declarations of pecuniary interests. Is there any declarations?
None.
There is none. So we then now go on to agenda item number 4, the application for EFES premium. I'll just take you through how I intend to proceed with this hearing. In terms of interested parties, I have representatives from EFES. It's Kevin Morris, if that's correct. And as an interested party, I've got Kate Turner as well, and Kate is here.
I'm representing the residents of the road, not just me, myself, but all the residents.
You're representing the residents of Graham Road.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And we've also as well, we've got the legal officer, Guy Bishop, and the licensing officer, Elizabeth MacDonald as well, along with the committee officer, Amy. In terms of how this proceeding will go, you will probably have seen the procedures as outlined on page 3 of the agenda. How I intend to proceed with this hearing, I will firstly ask the legal advisor to inform those present that we had a briefing prior to the hearing to confirm the procedure and for clarification of any aspect of the application. Is there anything you want to add?
No, just went through what the application was and the important things to look out for and address. Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. And the licensing officer, was there any technical issues they feel that should be brought to the attention of the committee? Withdrawal of objections and agreed conditions?
Just very quickly for clarity, Chair, that on pages 37 and 38 of the application, that is the actual plans that came in with the application. There are another set of plans that came in with additional information, and the officer comments doesn't mention that there was agreement with trading standards conditions, but that agreement is within the body of the report.
That's within the body, and they've accepted the recommendations of the police as well.
Yes, that's right. Yes, yes, they have, Chair.
Fantastic. So the next point will be obviously for EFES to present their case. How this will work is they will make their case to the committee. There'll then be the opportunity for Kate Turner on behalf of residents to ask questions, followed by members of the committee. And after that part, there will then be a presentation from Kate Turner on behalf of the residents. Questions then can be asked by the applicant to Kate Turner, followed by members of the committee.
Chair, I'm not doing a presentation that I'm aware of.
Speech or presentation, whatever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's not a presentation. I'm not doing a speech either, but anyhow.
Yeah, obviously you're making a representation to the committee on that point of view. Following on for that, I will ask the licensing officer whether they have any comments or clarification. I will ask the legal officer for any comments or clarification. Then I'll ask for closing statements from the interested parties, which is Kate Turner, and I'll ask for closing statements from the applicant. So I hope that's all straightforward. So I will ask for the applicant to please present their case, and can you please put your camera on when you address the committee, Mr. Morris? Is Mr. Morris here? Or is it Paul Marshall? Sorry, yeah, Kevin.
I think it's actually Kevin Morris.
Kevin Morris, yes.
I should be here. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Could you present your case to the committee, Mr. Morris?
Okay, yes, I'm the agent for the applicant, which is Burton Group UK Limited. I was approached to offer a premises license application for, it said as a new build construct site of 27 to 39 Hartfield Road.
I'm sorry, it's really cracking up.
Sorry, can you go through the chair? Can I ask everyone to put their microphones to silent? Please put their microphones to silent, just to be clear. Thank you. Mr. Morris, you can proceed.
Yes, the new construction site at 27 to 39 Hartfield Road, which is the site of the new travel lodge. Application was made on the basis of a fine dining experience licensed restaurant. Application was made for opening hours up to 24 hours, which is Sunday to Thursday, and on Friday and Saturday nights to 1 AM in the morning. This is not a drink establishment, say it's a dining experience restaurant where will only be sold, alcohol will only be sold as ancillary to a meal that's consumed on or off the premises. When I say off the premises, we have had discussion with the police, P. Avril O'Brien. There is a condition in there that the off sales will only be to residential or business homes, will not be to any public area or park in Wimbledon or the vicinity. In the application, apart from alcohol, they have requested live and recorded music. Both the live and recorded music will be incidental background. Technically, recorded music probably doesn't need to be licensed on that basis, but the live music will be keyboard and woodwind instruments. The applicant advises me they probably only will have this music maybe 2-3 times a month. Representations were made by Trading Standards Christopher Jones, which are now all incorporated in the operating schedule, if the list is approved. Wording was agreed as well with PC Avril O'Brien of the Metropolitan Police licensing. So we've conformed with that. All front of house staff will receive welfare and vulnerability engagement training. She's asked that to be put in as a condition, which we've included in the operating schedule. I have with me in the meeting here is Paul Marshall. The reason why I brought Paul Marshall to the meeting is with the travel lodge and planning condition, there's very strict noise stipulations in the planning consent. An extensive acoustics report was commissioned, which is part of the licensing pack that we've all got. If there's any questions regarding this acoustics report, I would ask they are actually directed towards Paul. Any planning things that anyone wants to raise today to go to Paul as well. It does come under E-class, so all the retail units. I noticed one of the objections was a resident did say they believed they were retail units. Well, since September 20, the planning reforms were slightly relaxed insofar as E now class is a retail shop, and also cafes, restaurants now all fall into the E class. The other thing I'd mention is prior to making the application in January, I spoke to the agent of Tampa Po. Anthony Lyons was the agent for Tampa Po. They put an application in December for exactly the same hours, which was agreed. So that's the adjacent property to where EFES Premium will be located. So their hours as well are 24 hours, Sunday to Thursday, 1 AM Friday to Saturday. I'm unaware there was a hearing objections to those hours that were requested. And that's really all I need to say for the actual application.
Thank you for that statement. I just obviously want to clarify, obviously, this is obviously relating to the licensing aspects of this application, because obviously it's a licensing hearing as well. So just obviously wanted to make that clear. We'll go on then to Kate Turner. Do you wish to ask any questions of the applicant? Yes.
Yes, I do. Yes.
It's just questions at this stage.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that. Believe it or not, I know a question from a statement. Anyway, the applicant mentioned indoor and outdoor off sales. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more, please? Is there a plan for there to be outdoor tables outside, or because I noticed the word outdoor has crept in since the licensing application? Could you explain some more about outdoor sales and outdoor eating? I think you're on mute.
You can hear me now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just to confirm, the application was for indoor and outdoor sales. Yes, there is. If you see the floor plans that were submitted with the application form, there is outdoor seating. The other aspect of this as well is what I mentioned in the preamble, was that has been agreed with the police for outdoor sales. There are deliveries, but deliveries must be made to residential or business premises. They must not be. We can do food to public areas, but not alcohol.
So sorry to be quick, but when you're doing an off sale, can I just walk in there and buy an amount of alcohol and walk out again?
No, it has to be with a meal.
So
both on off sales, all sales of alcohol must be with a main meal.
So I could get a takeaway and alcohol.
Yes.
Okay.
But you cannot get alcohol in isolation.
Okay. You mentioned Tan Popo. I don't think the residents were aware of that that license application. I know a councillor will tell me that they posted presumably they posted a notice in the shop. I don't know. We only noticed this one.
Can I just clarify? We're just considering this application
yes,
today.
I haven't finished my statement yet. I just said
it's questions as well.
Yeah, I'm just. If you allow me to finish, I'm just saying. You mentioned Tampopo. He mentioned it, not me. So you've applied for the same hours as them. I think that's irrelevant in this hearing, unless you've got a point to make. Question mark.
It could be irrelevant, but it's only been, it is a precedent next door, which was only agreed 1 month ago.
But we're not considering Tampopo here.
No, we're not. We're dealing with this application today in isolation.
Yep.
Just on the other point, licensing legislation, when you are submitting an application, you have to do two things. For a period of 28 days, there must be a blue notice affixed to the premises. It was affixed to Tampopo, and it certainly was fixed, as I did it personally myself. Went to Wimbledon and put the one up for EFES premium. Secondly, we also, as agents or applicants, we must advertise in the local newspaper, and it was put in the local newspaper during the month of beginning of February. And a copy of both the copies of the blue notice and the newspaper advert were submitted to the licensing team, Elizabeth.
Wasn't querying any of that.
No. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of the process.
Yep, I am aware. Finally, my final question is about the entertainment, so-called entertainment that they're going to have in there. you asked for a, you said that there's going to be incidental background music and keyboard and woodwind instruments 2 to 3 times a month. What about the live dancing that was mentioned in the application?
Sorry, I was just checking I was on mute, so I'm not on mute, sorry. Yes, that's going to be occasional as well. There is no sort of format to say it's going to happen
It's
every
performance
Saturday.
of dance.
Sorry, we're not going to actually do the live dancing now anymore.
You're doing performance of dance in the
No,
application.
that's been cancelled now. We're not
Oh,
going
it's
to carry
withdrawn.
on.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sorry, can you go through the chair, please, if you have further points? Just be great.
Sorry,
Yes.
could someone go over that again, please? I asked a question, I'd like the answer. So I said, what about the live dancing that was in there?
So, Chair, the live dancing has been removed now.
Right.
So it's been removed from the application. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, Guy Bishop here.
Yeah.
Just to clarify that. So basically there was an application within this application for performance of dance, not live dancing. Okay. We're told by Mr. Marshall that's now been withdrawn. It remains that the applications for regulated entertainment related to live music and recorded music remain.
Yes.
So Chair, can I just clarify, the performance of dance is not in there. So are people allowed to dance in this premises under the terms of this license? Not specialist people performing a belly dance or whatever, but are people allowed to dance?
We're not going to have it.
That point.
No one is going to dance in the restaurant.
Right. So you can't hold a party in there?
We can have parties, but they won't be dancing.
You
It's
could have
not a
you
nightclub.
could have
It's a restaurant.
I understand what it is, but could you have a private party with dancing in there?
No, this sit-down restaurant. It's not an area where people will stand. It's a restaurant, a high-end restaurant.
So you wouldn't do private hire then?
For people sitting down, but there'll be no dancing.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that the end of your questions?
Well, I've got more statements, but he hasn't mentioned anything I want to question him on.
Yes, you'll have an
mentioned-
opportunity shortly to make your statement to the subcommittee.
Yeah.
Do members of the panel have any questions they wish to ask of the applicant? Councillor Patterson, Councillor Williscroft. Councillor Patterson, have you got a question? Yes.
The outdoor seating area will presumably have open windows or open doors to the seated restaurant area, and presumably the noise of the music will percolate to that area. Is that right?
No. There are no open doors or windows.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I have a question myself. Obviously, this is in a special cumulative impact zone. What rebuttable assumption would you have that it won't add to cumulative impact in this zone, Mr. Morris?
Well, the emphasis really, it's on a fine dining experience. It says it's not a drinkers establishment per se. So we are just looking at people who are actually having a meal and having a drink, an alcoholic drink as an accompaniment to that meal.
Thank you. Do members of the panel have any further questions they wish to ask? We therefore move on to Kate Turner. It's your opportunity now to address the panel. And can Mr. Marshall and Mr. Morris please go to mute, everyone at mute when somebody is speaking. Thank you.
So I live at 12 Graham Road, and we have a road WhatsApp. It's a very, I don't know how many of you are aware, but it's a very long road that culminates in an opening at the Hartfield Road, where the travel lodge is, and where this new premises is on the corner underneath the travel lodge. My first point that I'm not sure if you're all aware is you are right, cheek by jowl against some residential housing. So the very first numbers, and I live at 12, but the very first numbers on the odd side of the road, starting at number 1, are right next door to that premises. We have already seen considerable noise disruption from the Travel Lodge being open. The Travel Lodge have, for reasons best known to them, put a whole selection of flower beds down the side next to the EFES premises, and people culminate there, drink, smoke dope, and throw rubbish about. So we're very sensitive about the neighbourhood. We have had in our time so very many pubs and licenses agreed in Wimbledon without any respect being given to us as residents. So our grounds for objection are firstly under crime and disorder. We believe that there is no necessity for a licence until 1 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. It's far too late. Most of the restaurants and other premises in Wimbledon don't open at 9 o'clock in the morning and close at 1 o'clock. They're not finding that economical at the moment, but I guess EFES is in some other position. But we believe this will produce more drunks and other highly excited individuals who will congregate and spill into our streets. Historically, we've suffered from individuals fighting, urinating and defecating in our front gardens, vandalising our cars and other property as they come down the street from the large pubs that are on the top of Hartfield Road. So there's the Garrett and Gage, and there used to be the Slug and Lettuce. And we've been very grateful since that's been shut, because it has lessened the numbers, but it's still a great disturbance for us. And I'd like to understand how EFES is planning to give any sort of credence to the residents in the road. As I say, we were hoping for retail outlets and not restaurants and bars, not understanding that the same was there. We're also appealing under public safety. We don't have any CCTV, nor is there any outside the Travel Lodge. I understand there's going to be some CCTV. My question would be, where will that be, and will that actually record any activity in the road or only on your premises? To encourage more drunks and gangs into our area to walk down our road is frightening for us and our children. It's a family road. We've already had children who've had their trainers and their coats stolen in, outside the Odeon, which is just very nearby. So how will that get dealt with? And I understand you will have some security personnel. I'd like to hear more about that. I think we've covered off the business about live dance performances that we were concerned about. I couldn't really tell from the premises plan whether there's going to be an inner door or porchway. I thought that was one of the conditions on licensing, is that you have a double door scenario, so that when one door opens, it doesn't let the noise out into the road of the other, because you've got in effect a sort of time lock door. We can already hear noise from the Garrett and Gage, and that does have a 2-door system. We believe that this will affect our children. As I say, we also want to get a good night's sleep in our road, and we're not understanding how any of this will add to the enjoyment of our lives in Wimbledon, for which we're paying a very high price in council tax and other utilities. We just want to know how you are proposing to speak to us and to make our lives better as a consequence of improvements that you'll make via this licensing committee. Thank you.
Is there any questions you would like to ask Mr. Morris or Mr. Marshall?
Me?
Yes, they've got an opportunity to question you now.
So firstly, I think on behalf of EFES, we're very keen to work with the community. because we're hoping that the restaurant will embellish the experience of the local people. So with regards to the CCTV, we are going to have an extensive CCTV system with cameras facing outside and down both roads. So we will have full coverage of any activity from non-customers of ours or anyone else. We'll also be stringent in the way we deal with our customers. If we believe that people have had too much to drink, we will not sell them any more drink. So we will try and control any unfortunate activity that may have occurred. And we want to be very family orientated as well. We want families to come, not just couples or individuals. So we are very serious about embellishing the area.
Is there any questions you wish to ask Mr. Marshall or Mr. Morris besides the statement? I take that as a no. Would you like to respond to that? To Kate Turner.
Yeah. So why is it necessary to have a license till 1 a.m.? Why would 11 o'clock not be suitable?
Yeah, I'm just going to answer that. Yeah, essentially, I can understand. Look, if I was living as residents in the area, I'd be concerned about any additional activity that you're already experiencing. I don't live on top of a town centre, but I do understand where you're coming from, given the amount of applications I've done. But as was said, this is a fine dining experience. You mentioned the hours, but you would be surprised how many even emergency services and people that work late at night, that's where they frequent these restaurants for something to eat, whether it's takeaways, whether it's deliveries, or whether it's people coming down and actually sitting down to have the meal. There are a lot of people who work very late hours, who do go to these restaurants for that reason, to get something to eat after their shifts. You mentioned about the 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, when we put the hours there, it doesn't mean to say they'll be open at 9 in the morning. Certainly there'll be nobody in there drinking from 9 o'clock in the morning all the way to midnight or 1 a.m. Again, the alcohol is only to be served as part of a food order.
So can I ask you more about a 1 a.m. license? So you're allowed to sell alcohol till 1 a.m. What time will that restaurant be open till?
What we could do, we could say the last alcohol sales are 11:30. So in other words, allow half an hour drinking time. It's not unusual for that to happen. Sunday to Thursday, and last alcohol was served on a Friday night and Saturday night, 12:30 a.m. So in other words, it gives a 30-minute drinking time. No more sales in that period, the last half hour.
What time will your chefs be operating till?
Paul might be best to answer that, because I don't actually operate a restaurant. He probably has more. How long it takes to actually close after, or after the restaurant closes, how long it normally takes to close down. Is Paul still there?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the chefs will be finished at about 11:30 for a 1 p.m. opening.
But so you will close the doors at 1 p.m. and empty the premises?
Well, we won't be cooking after 11:30.
I'm just trying to find out from you guys, what time will that premises be empty? Is it going to be 2 a.m. because your license goes to 1 a.m.?
I think we're dealing with licensable activities here. That's what we are dealing with. And obviously there's an opportunity to ask questions originally in terms of the applicant, but obviously if they, Paul or Kevin want to clarify those points, but can I just make sure we are dealing with the licensable activities at this premises?
Councillor Whelan, Chair.
Councillor Welton, it's not Whelan.
Welton, sorry. You keep trying to shut down my questions, and
I am trying to chair the meeting, and
I
obviously
understand. Look, you're not even letting me finish my sentence.
Sorry, I'm going to let you finish your sentence in a minute. It's obviously there was an opportunity to ask questions of the applicant in the first part of the hearing. I did make it clear, but obviously I am letting you ask questions, obviously referring to the application which is before us.
But the applicant did not mention any of these items that I have raised, which is why I said to you afterwards I would need to raise them. But I don't understand why you keep trying to shut down the discussion. Are you?
I am trying to chair this meeting. You need to respect the chair.
I am respecting the chair, but you're just
respect the chair and put your questions. Obviously, I'm trying to conduct this meeting in an orderly manner.
Well, nothing's disorderly happening.
But does the applicant have any questions they wish to ask of you? That's what I did ask the question originally, because obviously I'm going through the licensing process.
Am I allowed to ask a question or not?
I will let you ask a question, but there was obviously the opportunity in the first part. Then it was your opportunity to make a statement to the licensing committee.
But my opportunity was only based on what
their statement was. You can obviously, you had the opportunity, but I'll let you ask a question.
I obviously don't come to these every single week.
Yes.
But I can if you'd like me to.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was just trying to find out what time a restaurant that has a license till 11 would be shutting. Would people be spilling out onto our street at 2 a.m. because they've had their dinner given to them at 12 and have finished eating at 1:30 and are coming out at 2? I think that's material to the point as to what time you license it to, because if you work the timeline back, then that will have an impact on us.
So as a gesture, we are prepared to close the restaurant at 12:30 and the kitchen will close at 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
So the restaurant will be closed at 12:30.
So people will leave then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
we just need to confirm those timings because they're slightly different. That 12:30 is for Friday night and Saturday night.
Yes.
Paul, are you now with the 12 o'clock Sunday to Thursday? Are you now saying 11:30?
No, ideally 12 those days, but for the later nights, we're prepared to go to 12:30.
It's just Saturday and Sunday, 12:30. Friday and Saturday night.
Friday and Saturday, yeah.
Mr. Bishop.
Yeah, I think I need to clarify where we're going here. Are you saying now that the licensable activities for, say, all the activities are until 12:30 on Fridays and Saturdays, with the opening hours remaining at 1? Mr. Morris.
Paul needs to confirm this because it's slightly different. I wasn't expecting that hour to go on there. So my instructions were 12 o'clock till 24 hours, Sunday to Thursday, and then Friday night and Saturday night to 1.
Given the application made. Yeah, that's the application that we've got before us.
Yes, exactly. If Paul wants to amend that, then he needs to let the committee know today.
So as a concession, we are prepared to drop that from 1 o'clock to 12:30.
Okay. And in relation to the actual opening hours, is that 12:30 or is it still 1? So that's that period of 30 minutes where people leave the premises.
No, the restaurant will close at 12:30.
Fine. So everything closes, everything shuts up by 12:30.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall.
Is there any questions that the applicant wishes to ask Kate Turner? I've been asking, do you have any questions specifically, Kevin Morris?
No, I don't now.
You don't?
No, I don't.
You don't. And I'll let you, Kate Turner, do you have any questions of clarity you wish to ask of Kevin Morris or Paul Marshall?
No, I don't. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I'll invite the councillors. Is there any questions you wish to ask of Kate Turner? Councillor Willis-Croft, you're on mute. Is there any questions you wish?
No questions, Chair.
Councillor Patterson, have you got any questions you wish to ask?
No questions.
I just obviously have one question to Kate Turner. Obviously, you have said there has been a number of issues around this in terms of antisocial behaviour and crime and disorder in the area. Do you think these problems have got worse recently?
Yeah, since the opening of the Travel Lodge, we've got more people hanging around the street corner late at night.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
I have no further questions. We then go on to closing statements to this panel. So I will invite Kate Turner to make a closing statement whilst adding no new points at this stage.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My closing statement would be, I would just ask this licensing committee to consider us residents above and beyond the profitability and the need for people to get meals and takeaways late at night, because we're raising families, we're contributing to the neighbourhood of Wimbledon. We all want to live here, but gradually, one by one, people are getting fed up of living on such a busy street. Thanks.
Thank you. And I will allow the applicant to make closing statements whilst introducing no new evidence at this stage.
Okay, yeah, so what we've agreed today on behalf of the applicant is a slight reduction in the hours there. CCTV will be the whole area. There is absolutely no room to dance in that premises. We said already we're not going to go for dance, but there isn't any room at all to dance there. Alcohol must be served as a meal. On-off sales, again, mentioned that the off sales must be, again, with a meal and can only be delivered if it is deliveries, to a commercial or residential premises. No public areas, albeit food can be delivered to public areas. Yeah, it's a fine dining experience. The applicant has invested heavily here. It's not open yet. We have got a brochure which we can share just to show you what this is going to look like. It is a very high-end restaurant, which we hope is obviously going to be very successful, and also will be good for the area.
Thank you. Before we proceed, does the licensing officer have any comments they wish to make or advise the committee of at this stage? Elizabeth MacDonald.
Thank you, Chair. I would just say that there was mention of dancing inside, but spontaneous dancing wouldn't be licensable anyway. You're really looking, I know it's been taken off the board, but I know that Ms. Turner was concerned about that, but it wouldn't be licensable if it was spontaneous anyway. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And does the legal advisor have any comments they wish to ask or clarifications to the subcommittee?
Nothing as such. I will be advising you in deliberations. It goes without saying you have to consider the evidence before you and present it at the hearing and evaluate the balancing of interests of the various parties at this application. Part of that will obviously require you to comply with the requirement to promote the licensing objectives.
Okay. Thank you. In terms of the next steps for the subcommittee, we will obviously now retire for a private session. All parties should receive a written copy of the decision within 5 working days. The legal officer and the committee officer will also be invited to retire for the deliberations. Thank you all for attending today.